Hi everyone, this is Karak from AngryCentaurGaming, and today I'm delighted to bring you the review for Southpark, The Stick of Truth for the PC. Southpark tells the tale of the beloved Southpark paper cutout kids and their adventure to basically imagine, fight, and cuss their way through a couple of their days. Unlike similar series to game conversions like The Simpsons, in Southpark you play a completely new fleshy addition to the wonderfully offensive new neighborhood, alternating between new kid and douchebag prefixes. Southpark adheres to the world in a world storytelling scheme, with the kids running around the town playing their own twisted version of live-action role playing, and even though they're kids made of paper, they somehow look cooler than their real-world counterparts. So let's see if Southpark is pre or post Batman Val Kilmer, a sleek entity on the top of its game that can do no wrong and lovingly relevant, or drowning in its own history and offensiveness, does it get crushed under its own weight. Southpark starts out fairly quickly, breaking down a few of the overall systems that you'll be using within the game. The game plays out as an adventure within Southpark with a good deal of exploration and battles. They're all handled in a turn-based system that mixes timing, luck, and crass imagination, like a Final Fantasy game created by 13-year-olds that got into their mom's Percocet after eating an entire bag of Pop Rocks, and then ended up having lightsaber battles with her dildos. No, actually, that's pretty much exactly what it's like. So first up is graphics. The game looks identical to one of the shows, and I mean identical. They did a spectacular job fitting the imagery, graphic style, and movement into the game. Everything from the colors to the kids' assortment of Down syndrome faces are all carbon copied. If a friend walked in while you were playing this and didn't see the controller, they would think that this was the show. It's that spot on, with the cutscenes interspersed seamlessly. Imagine crawling right into your TV minus the multiple deadly shocks to your nuts that would occur, and that's what you have here. There really isn't anything more to say. The game graphically ran fine with no slowdown or stuttering. However, it does load more than a Soviet soldier visiting the Ukraine border. I mean, it loads for damn near everything. If you have an SSD on your PC, it would be best to throw the game on that. Thankfully, the loads are short, but damn are they often. Sound, music, and voice. Due to the crazy nature of the game itself and what occurs, the sound effects run the gamut from crazy to creative and never seem to lack humor when they can. Hopefully these guys didn't record their farts, but I wouldn't put it past them. All in all, the sounds were great, fit the world, and never bring you out of the feeling that you're playing and living in an episode. The music is also spot on. Really, really well done here, with the music alternating from a Lords of the Rings style soundtrack and then mixing in Chinese nonsense singers at random times. Somehow they got the mix just right, so you didn't notice it when it switches to something funny until you do notice, and then you roll your eyes and smile. Well done with the music. Regardless of the place you're in or the situation you find yourself in, the music just seems to match the location perfectly. Up next is voice. You know what? It's the same voice actors, and they're playing the same characters. It'd be fucked up to the highest degree if they sounded like the Brady Bunch, which they don't. The more famous and infamous of the characters are all voiced correctly, and a couple of the monsters are hilariously voiced, which really adds some awesome bits. There's cameos in the game, and from what I can tell, they're done by the actual people themselves, which makes it even funnier as you go along and realize what the real people had to say and do to make that part of the story. Very well done. And though none of that is really any different than the TV show itself, it really shows how far they're willing to go to get this on the game and show some polish and some love to it. Gameplay. Let's break this down into sections like an inedible meal. First up is your character and control. Your character is basically created and controlled via a smartphone. Once you pick a Cartman-approved character class and create your new kid from a laughingly short selection of looks, you're on your way. The smartphone handles a lot of stuff: inventory, party, information, quests, and so forth. For the most part, it handles it well, but if you don't keep close attention to what the smartphone is telling you, you can end up getting somewhat confused. Like when you want to take strap-ons off items, if you don't watch what you're doing, you can remove everything from all the items in one button press, resulting in some time putting them all back on. Additionally, quest items are separated from normal items, but normal items have so many categories that you can easily get lost. One mission in particular requires very fine control of your character to place an item, and if you aren't paying attention, you can spend an hour or so thinking you don't have the right quest item to go forward, only to find out that you do. You just needed to stand 1.2 microns to the left of where you were. Next up is the city. The gameplay in the city is one half exploration, one half narrative, and to be blunt, the control of the 2D characters in a 2D world, drawn like a kid's sketches on a piece of paper, leave a ton to be desired. You find yourself sticking to more things than a sock at midnight in a dorm room, clumbering around, missing sections, thinking you can't go further, only to find some magical walking G-spot that lets you progress past a box and a Coleman lantern to get you to your required area. Worse is that some places you actually can't get to until a later part in the game, but they don't tell you about that. Though I just told you that, so now you know, which I didn't know, which means not knowing was a lesson in futile frustration. Somehow I made the game look far more offensive as I tried to hump my way through areas and over items for a good solid couple of hours total, only to find out that, oh, you can't get there right now. Fuck shit. Regardless, I still did it, which shows that I was enjoying it in some way, and the world is big enough with enough to do and see that I didn't feel like I was progressing too slowly.
Hey kid, maybe you can help us with something. All these homeless people in Southpark are making us look like a cold and heartless town. If you could go and beat the crap out of all the bums and vagrants, they'll leave town, and it'll...
And thus begins the battle system review. A lot has been made of this already, but the breakdown is pretty easy. It's turn-based a la Final Fantasy, maybe 3 in its complexity. Nah, it's less complex than that, but still complex enough to make you feel like you have some flexibility. There are normal attacks, magic attacks, items, summons, the ability to change out your partners during battle. It's all there. Most of the attacks have a minigame attached to them that goes from what the fuck am I doing now to awesome, pretty much like any other game out there. But when you add in a vast number of weapons and upgrades, a good number of characters that try to at least somewhat hold to their fantasy-inspired counterparts, and you get one half good gameplay, one half retarded atmosphere, and frankly it makes it very playable. I'm not saying this is as deep as RPGs that have come recently, or hell, that have come on some old 16-bit systems. But it isn't supposed to be. It's supposed to mimic live-action role-playing with a bunch of lower-than-toaster IQ kids on a quest for a fucking stick, and it does that really well. So what do you get with Southpark's Stick of Truth? You get a turn-based battle/adventure game locked firmly into the Southpark world with a score of systems that help you adventure, a couple that frustrate, but overall assist you in exploring a single, very long episode of Southpark. It also doesn't require any pre-knowledge of the characters or world to enjoy. I mean, it's a bunch of idiotic kids who are most likely destined for jail, early death, or some kind of smut film. Basically, they are all the neighborhood kids most of us grew up with anyway. So as you know, I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or never shall this game be mentioned again rating scale. This is a buy. As someone who doesn't frequent Southpark, the systems, adventures, and story were enough to keep me amused the entire time, with some laugh-out-loud moments and polish that showed actual attention to detail, which can't always be said when worlds and content switch entertainment mediums between TV and games. There's a good deal of content here, and if you don't rush, watch everything and explore, maybe do a bit of grinding, you can easily see yourself going 15 plus hours of gameplay, which is where I am right now, and I'm right at the end. A bit shorter if you rush, or if you're very good, and a bit longer if you find yourself not paying attention to the various systems, or if you get lost. This is Karak from AngryCentaurGaming. Thanks for listening and watching. If you like it, hit like or share the video. If you didn't like it, don't tell anybody, and let's go ahead and have the video die in obscurity like Tapow after their one smash hit in the 1980s. Peace out, bitches.